What up friends, I'm James, your host, and today I'm going to be reviewing the newest album by Caravan Palace, Chronologic. Yes, that's right, the veterans of Electro Swing are finally back with their new album. After practically being one of the main pioneers of Electro Swing and bringing it into the mainstream with their first two albums, Caravan Palace also experimented a bit with their third album, Robot Face, taking it in a more modern dance and EDM direction. However, this also made them sacrifice their sound a bit in the process. However, with this new album, they were able to combine their two sounds almost flawlessly. It's less of a novelty compared to their first two albums, yet also way more layered and fleshed out compared to their third. Miracle is a great way to start off the album, the lead single, of course. It pretty much details what the entire album is about, and instrumentally it's a fantastic blend of their electro swing sound from the older albums and the more EDM and house vibes from their album Robot Face. I love the tropical elements and the keys and the subtlety of the brass here. It really makes every element come alive and feel like they're just complementing each other. The lyrics are especially good. It's kind of this call to look on the positive sides of life and realize that you aren't going through hardships alone. This culminates with the dreamlike and euphoric chorus that pushes you forward and encourages you. It matches the lyrics perfectly. Definitely one of my favorite songs on the record. Now, when I first saw that there were going to be features on this album, I was a little apprehensive because they can usually make or break the songs. However, the features here were carefully chosen, and all of them do a great job, especially on the next song, About You. I love the confident and driving beat that inspires self-love and how you can pretty much be confident in yourself without anybody else. Charles X also does a great job at adding this sort of soulful touch in contrast with Zoe's more direct lyrics and vocals. The booming bass line surprisingly doesn't drown out the synth line or the beat, and the sort of EDM-styled reverb really fits well between the other instrumentals. I also really like the contrast in the lyrics where Zoe is very confident on her own while Charles X is more confident around other people. I think it shows that everybody is different and different sorts of things bring out the best in you. Moonshine is probably the only real weak track on the record, although I don't dislike it. It just sort of feels like retreaded ground, and it also feels a bit too similar to the song Russian from the last album. The acoustic guitar adds a very clear and delicate touch to the song, and the vocals by Robin Minanti have a sort of Indietronica vibe to them too that's sort of endearing. The real highlights of the song, for me personally, are the subtle sounds of the strings and keys that are only prevalent in a few sections. Lyrically, it's also a bit darker despite the sound, as we're wondering why we can't find sunshine and happiness, and if the fact that we've missed our chance with someone is contributing to that and will make our sadness last longer. Melancholia, however, is a fantastic combination of sounds and vocals. The intro is fairly standard as far as modern pop is concerned, but it quickly evolves into this sort of melancholic and multi-layered ballad. Zoe is talking about trying to rekindle old relationships while Titus is looking back on his glory days that abandoned him. It's a great way of tying the concepts together under one sort of umbrella topic. The deep sax as well just adds to the sorrow felt by both parties here. The chorus where Zoe and Aurelian Amzalag harmonize after a great piano solo is haunting and beautiful, and it's by far one of the best moments on the album. Definitely the best moment on the song, but also probably one of the best moments on the entire record overall. There's just so many intricacies that add up to a great experience on this one. Plume has this sort of combination with traditional electro swing instrumentation along with more modern elements of vocal samples and dance beats, and this combination adds up to this sort of downcast yet sunny aesthetic. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's a very sort of mixed bag of feelings. It fits the lyrics of trying to help out a depressed friend and try to make them feel better. Even the drop is pretty interesting, and it transitions into the chorus very well. And like I said before, the combination of upbeat and darker lyrics give the song an interesting sense of contrast. Waterguns is probably the most upbeat song on the record, and the more R&B styled guitar meshes really well with the clarinet and that very heavy-handed brass. It has a very large presence despite the lighter lyrics and overall sound. Tom Bailey especially just adds to this with these sort of airy vocals that give off almost like a Jason Mraz vibe or something. This sound and the way the vocals are sung give off this impression of youthful innocence and cooling off, and I like the dual meaning of Waterguns in this song in that respect as well. Leena would feel right at home at Robot Face from the heavy combination of EDM and brass instrumentals. The general aesthetic and sound of the verses really give off this sort of jazz vibe though that kind of ties us back into the electro swing sound, at least somewhat. It feels much more natural here compared to some of their outings on the previous album. The bouncy rhythm and sort of noir-esque vocals and lyrics really give off this sort of fun yet sinister vibe that give this track a unique aesthetic even compared to the rest of the songs on this album. Supersonics is definitely another one of my favorites on this album. It's sort of a return to their classic electro swing sound but with a twist. The vocal filter is incredibly fun and it actually reminds me of something that Damon Albarn sometimes does with Gorillaz or a few of his other random projects. The crazy and quirky usage of the brass, the electro bass, and the classic electro swing filters, along with a fucking cowbell, they're just the icing on top of lyrics that are about letting loose and having fun. That's what this song is all about. You know something's bad for you, but it's fun. So what can you do? It has this sort of humorous element that's very relatable when you just kind of want to forget about the world. Now there is a demanding yet delicate performance for the closing track on the record, April. From the opening brass, the ticking of the verses, the snap beat to the jazzy vocals and backing instrumentation, this is the fucking closer. The wobbling of the synth comes in seamlessly after the chorus. Manuela Riviere and Zoe deliver the lyrics in a very sensitive way and it's very fitting for a song about moving on from your past and struggles and finding comfort in the power of nature and change. It's just a fantastic way to end the album overall. Caravan Palace have succeeded in combining both of their sounds in a meaningful and fulfilling way. I like how the vocals have more attention brought to them here. I was always hoping for that in the past, and I'm glad they're finally doing it with this album. And I also like how they've continued on expanding and refining their technique while also experimenting still as well. Some instances can feel a bit like retreaded ground, and the intermission tracks that I didn't really mention in the review are just a bit there, but those are very minor complaints, and they're still pretty good overall, so I don't feel like it really detracts from the experience of the record. All in all, this is some fantastic work, and it continues to show why they're at the forefront of their genre, and why they're pretty much one of the few that are actually on top and experimenting. I'm feeling a decent 9 on this record. Really good. And of course we do have to talk about the album cover here. In a typical Caravan Palace fashion, they have to have the robot, that's their thing, but I really like the model that they use here. It's almost like a sort of chess piece or something. I like the sort of 3D element that they finally brought in, and it represents the sort of futuristic sounds of Robot Face, but also that sort of classical look of their electro swing albums that they started out with. Great choice on the red as well. It's just a great album cover that's really fitting for them. But those are my thoughts on Caravan Palace's Chronologic. Did you like it just as much as I did? Did you also feel that it's a great combination of their sounds? Let me know. And until the next one, farewell.